तो ये तो
लगा दे रहा हूँ अभी, लगा दे रहा हूँ।
ये क्या है, क्वेश्चंस? एक ये वाला भी है।
आप इंटरेक्ट करिए।
बस एक सेकंड, नीचे ये SSB सीक्रेट्स 2। अरे ये वाला, ये इसका, ये स्लाइडर का है।
एक बार में एक ही चलेगा?
हाँ?
कौन सा चलाना है? एक बार में एक?
नहीं, ये तो स्लाइडर का है, इसको आगे पीछे मूव कर।
एक बार में एक ही PPT ओपन होगी, तो आप ये पहले इसे पढ़ाएंगे, बाद में इसे पढ़ाएंगे, इसे पढ़ेंगे।
ये इसमें ये स्लाइडर का है।
अच्छा,
ये स्लाइडर का है, इसका इससे कोई वो नहीं। करें शुरू, एक बार देख लें इसको। चलिए, ओके फ्रेंड्स, गुड आफ्टरनून, and in continuation with what we had covered day before yesterday, we'll have another session today. Now in this session, what all would I cover? There are three things I'll cover, followed by your question answer session. Number one, the first thing I'll talk about is the disadvantages you would have to face every time when you fail to clear the written or the SSB interview. What disadvantages come your way? Number one. Number two, what are the myths associated with SSB which people have in their mind? Number three, preparatory actions which you must begin to take from now onwards in order to clear your SSB process in the very first attempt. This is one part which I could not cover day before yesterday because of shortage of time. And in the end, we'll have some question answer sessions. Right. Now we have very limited time available today. Hence, please ask questions which are new. Do not repeat the questions which we have already covered day before yesterday. Okay. Now the first part, what are the disadvantages a candidate has to face every time he fails either in the written test or in the SSB interview process? So there are 5 major disadvantages. I'll just talk about those disadvantages, but before that let me tell you, SSB is a very enriching experience. It is a once in a lifetime experience, and any candidate who gets to spend 5 days there, he never forgets that experience. And this entire SSB selection process is absolutely accurate, very fair, very scientific. The probability of a wrong candidate getting selected and a suitable candidate getting rejected is 0. That probability will never happen. Okay, now let's talk of the disadvantages that you would have to face if you get rejected either in the written or the SSB stage. Number one, have a look at this slide. Loss of pay and allowances. This is the major disadvantage you would have to face. How? You all know how much is the pay that you draw when you become an officer today? It is a 6-figure salary, anything from 1 to 1.25 lakhs. Now have a look at this slide. Your pay, that authorized pay, is 80,000, but when you factor in other allowances like your free accommodation, free rations, field allowances, traveling allowances, and a series of other allowances, your pay comes to anything between 1 lakh to 1.25 lakh rupees per month. Now this variation is depending on your posting. The place of posting decides your exact amount of pay. But wherever you are posted in India, your pay would not be less than 1 lakh rupees, probably more, depending. If you're posted in a field station, it will be more than 1 lakh. Now let's go to that first disadvantage. Let's say you have 3 attempts to clear your CDS or NDA exam, and you are unable to clear this selection process in the first attempt. Then what will happen? You will get the second chance after 6 months. Now, if you would have got selected in the first attempt after completing all your training process, when the day you would have become an officer, you would have started drawing this pay. Now, this pay would be given to you after 6 months. And that too if you get selected in the second attempt. So this is the loss that you would have to face. 1.25 lakhs multiplied by 6 months. So almost 6-7 lakh rupees is what the government was wanting to give you, but you did not take. And God forbid if you do not clear it in the second attempt, and if you are able to clear this selection process in the third attempt, this delay would be of 12 months, which means almost 14-15 lakhs of rupees which you could have taken, you have lost because of your not being able to clear this selection process. So this is the first disadvantage, number one. Number two, pain, misery and discomfort. Now what does this mean? If you are able to clear the written exam this time, but you do not clear the SSB, then when you appear for the second time, you will not be called directly for SSB. You will have to reappear in the written exam. So all that entails going through a lot of pain, misery and discomfort. वही सब्जेक्ट्स आपको दोबारा पढ़ने पड़ेंगे, वही केमिस्ट्री, ज्योग्राफी, फिजिक्स, वही मैथ्स, ग्रामर, एवरीथिंग you'll have to go through a second time. Okay, this is a second disadvantage. Number 3, embarrassment, शर्मिंदगी. Let's say you are 3 friends and 2 have been able to make it, and now they are about to join NDA or IMA or OTA, whatever, but you could not make it. So it will be a major reason for embarrassment for you. Your parents will question you, why could you not make it when others have been able to make it? So you will have no answer for that. Okay, number 4, creation of serious doubt in your mind. Now what is this point? Anything that you attempt to do the first time and you are unable to do it, you fail. When you try to do the same thing the second time, it always creates a doubt in your mind कि पिछली बार तो मैं fail हो गया था, will I be able to clear it this time? So this doubt will keep cropping up in your mind. Even if you are fully prepared the second time, this doubt will keep bothering you. Okay, and the 5th point, this point will come into play at the end of your service, not today. It will not affect you in any way today. What is this point? Your retirement benefits, your pension, your gratuity and other retirement benefits are calculated on the length of your service. Now let's say if you were to join NDA, get selected in the very first attempt, तो आपका retirement, जो आपका जो length of service would be a little longer because you will retire at a fixed age, but joining was early, तो आपकी length of service ज़्यादा होगी. If you are able to clear this exam in the second attempt, तो length of service 6 महीने कम हो जाएगी, और third attempt में हुए तो 1 साल कम service हो जाएगी आपकी. तो this point will come into play at the end of your service, not today. Your retirement benefits would be slightly reduced. Okay, so these are the 5 disadvantages. Now let's look at the myths associated with SSB. मिथ का मतलब है गलत धारणा, जो लोगों को SSB के बारे में सोच है कि उसमें ऐसे होता है, जो एक्चुअली वो गलत है. तो वो क्या myths हैं? There are 7 myths which people have in their mind, boys and girls. So let's look at these myths one by one. The first myth is candidates think only CBSE स्कूल के स्टूडेंट्स SSB क्वालिफाई करते हैं, स्टेट बोर्ड के हैं तो आप नहीं कर पाओगे, या इंग्लिश मीडियम के स्कूल के नहीं हैं तो आप नहीं क्वालिफाई कर पाओगे. नो, दिस इज़ नॉट ट्रू. दिस इज़ एब्सोल्युटली फॉल्स. अगर खाली CBSE बोर्ड के ही स्टूडेंट्स को लेना होता तो they would have in that when you were to fill that form, they would have specified कि anybody from state board should not fill this form. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. As far as SSB is concerned, it has nothing to do with the board from where you have obtained your qualification. Okay, number 2, I do not have 90% marks or more than 90% marks, and therefore I will have less chance of clearing SSB. So in that previous session I had told you SSB is all about checking your leadership qualities. It has nothing to do with your marks. when you go for your SSB, you will get to see people who have 93, 94, even 96% marks. They have got rejected on the very first day, and those candidates who had just about average marks but were able to display good leadership qualities, they are the ones who got selected very easily in the very first attempt. So marks have nothing to do with SSB. Marks may have something to do with the written exam, but not with SSB. Okay, third myth. I am from a small town or a small village. I am not from a big city like Mumbai, New Delhi, Kolkata, Bangalore. Therefore, I have less chance of getting selected. So this is also a myth. बिल्कुल गलत ये belief है. आप if you go to NDA and check out the cadets who are undergoing training, what will you get to see? As many as 80-90% cadets undergoing training are from small places. They are not from Mumbai or Delhi or Kolkata or Chennai or Bangalore. They are from small places. So your place has nothing to do with your selection or your rejection. Okay, number 4, a very important myth. Boys have this feeling कि अरे मैं देखने में smart नहीं हूँ, गोरा नहीं हूँ. And girls have this complexion कि I have a complex, I am not beautiful, I am not fair, गोरी नहीं हूँ. ये लड़की ज़्यादा गोरी है तो इसको सेलेक्ट करेंगे. तो आपको लेट मी टेल यू दिस SSB selection process is to select candidates to become officers in the armed forces. This is not a selection process to pick candidates to make heroes and heroines in a Bollywood film. So if you have this complex, please remove it immediately. Okay, number 5. This part I had already explained. Somebody had asked a question and I had answered this about this myth. If you have failed in a previous attempt in SSB, it has no bearing on your appearance or your performance of this SSB. You failed because you could not show the right OLQs. Now when you are going for your SSB for the second time or third time or fourth time, if you are able to show all this, the OLQs that they want to see, they will be very happy to select you. Okay, your previous appearance or rejection has nothing to do with this appearance. Okay, one myth which a lot of candidates have is about the Allahabad selection board. It is a rejection board. No, not at all. It is absolutely wrong. Allahabad selection board से बहुत सारे candidates select भी होते हैं, reject भी होते हैं. Similarly, from every board, wherever it may be located, there are candidates who make it through and there are candidates who get rejected. So don't have this kind of a false belief embedded in your mind कि मेरा SSB Allahabad आ गया तो I am gonna be doomed. No, not at all. It is absolutely incorrect. And the last myth, a very important myth, कि English की ज़रूरत पड़ती है और English is a very difficult language. I will not be able to clear this SSB. So let me tell you, and I've already told you this last time, all you need is about 3-4 months time to learn this language, to reach a reasonable degree of fluency. You don't need more time than 3 to 4 months. So it is a myth that English cannot be learnt. Okay, इसी से related I'll give you 2 examples. Look at these two cricketers, ex-cricketers. So these people, when they started their cricketing career, they couldn't speak a word of English. One spoke only Marathi and the other guy spoke Punjabi. But they both, because quite often in several matches they would become man of the match, and therefore they were to be interviewed. You must have seen in ODI and T20, any candidate, any player who becomes the man of the match, he is interviewed. He is asked 2-3 questions. Those questions are asked in English. So these people could not speak English and it became very embarrassing for them. So somebody recommended to them कि अरे why don't you learn English? ये तो बहुत easy language है. तो they were able to do that and they were able to speak English in a matter of 3-4 months time. Fluent English. You can also do it. Okay, now the third part, and after this we'll have your question answers. We'll take your questions. Preparatory actions required to get selected in SSB. Any candidate who's proceeding on SSB what preparatory actions must he begin to take from now onwards, this very moment onwards, so that he gets fully prepared and he gets selected in the very first attempt. So there are 8 points which I am listing. Let's look at them one by one. Number 1, improve communication skills. Now this is an extremely important factor. Day before yesterday I had mentioned all this. Okay, this is a very, very essential requirement for you to be able to clear the SSB process. Now look at this, 90% rejection of candidates takes place because of poor communication skills. यानी कि अगर 100 कैंडिडेट SSB के लिए जाते हैं तो as many as 90 out of 100 get rejected because of this, और 10 कैंडिडेट इसलिए रिजेक्ट होते हैं because they are physically very weak. वो खड़े भी नहीं हो पाते, चल नहीं पाते, धूप में नहीं चल पा रहे, ऑब्स्टिकल नहीं कर पा रहे, या डिसिप्लिन बहुत ख़राब है, लड़ाई कर ली वहाँ पे, कोई लिकर कंज्यूम कर लिया, या कोई टेस्ट नहीं उनको आता करना. तो इस कारण से 10 कैंडिडेट और कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स के कारण से एज मेनी एज 90 आउट ऑफ 100 कैंडिडेट्स. तो दिस इज़ द फर्स्ट, द स्टार्टिंग स्टेप दैट यू मस्ट टेक as far as SSB preparation is concerned, that you must improve your communication skills. इसका मतलब है you should be able to speak English in a fluent way. You should be able to express yourself very convincingly. Number 1. Number 2, you must form the habit of reading the newspaper, the English newspaper, on a daily basis. This is something very important. Why? When you read the English paper, what all happens? Number 1, it keeps you abreast of the current happenings in the country and those events worldwide which have a bearing on our own country. एक तो ये फ़ायदा होगा. Number 2, it also improves your communication skills. Reading the newspaper is a good way of improving communications. How does it happen? When you read the newspaper, you will come across new words. When you refer those words to a dictionary, that will help you improve it'll help you enhance your vocabulary. एक तो ये. दूसरा, you will get to see how words are joined to make sentences. So this process will improve your communication skills. Okay. Number 3, you must buy a word map and a map of India and paste it somewhere on your wall. जहाँ भी आप रहते हो, अपने बेडरूम में, पीजी में रहते हो, हॉस्टल में रहते हो, wherever you stay, you should have this posted on your wall, a word map and a map of India. And every day you must spend at least 5 minutes, every day, at least 5, if possible more than 5 minutes, in observing these maps. वर्ड मैप को कैसे ऑब्जर्व करना है? You say today I'll look at Africa, the continent called Africa. I'll look at the countries, which are the countries in Africa, which are the oceans to the right and left of Africa, which are the continents on top of Africa. इस टाइप की एक्सरसाइज आपको करनी है. यानी कि in other words, you should be aware of the geographical location of each country. What are the size and physical features? Which continent does that country belong to? What are the neighboring countries? Which are the water bodies surrounding that country or close to that country? And what are the cardinal directions of other continents? So all this, you don't have to memorize anything. Merely by observing that word map, you will get to know all these points will get embedded in your mind. Okay. Number 4, dictionary. This point is connected with communication skills. How is it connected? If you have a dictionary, if you are learning 5 new words, this is what you need to do. Your target should be 5 new words and 5 idioms per day. Merely by enhancing your vocabulary, you will be able to improve your communication skills. I would recommend that you try this exercise. Learn 5 new words of English every day, and within a matter of 1 or 2 months, see what happens to your hold over the English language. As your vocabulary will increase, so will your communication skills and your command over the English language would increase. Okay. Now, this is what you need to do when you are learning a new word. I will not explain that. You can have a look at this slide. It is self-explanatory. Okay. Number 5, you must join a good coaching institute where you will get the right kind of guidance as far as the written exam is concerned, and also your second stage, that is the SSB interview. Please take guidance from a mentor who's from the services background, preferably who's also been on the panel of. You must simultaneously prepare for the written and the SSB, and you must apply the 80-20 rule. What is 80-20 rule? 80% of the time you must spend for preparing for the written part, and 20% time, preparatory time, must be spent on clearing your or preparing for your SSB. This process must continue till about 1.5 months short of your written exam. 1 month from your written exam, you must stop about that SSB part and focus 100% on the written. Now, if this is the strategy you apply, you will find by the time you appear for the written, you are almost 70, 80, 90% already prepared for the SSB also. Okay, number 7, physical fitness. Now see, life in the armed forces is all about being physically fit. During your service, you will be posted in different types of terrain, sometimes in the mountains, sometimes in jungles, in snowbound areas or deserts. Now, and you have to deal with the enemy. Now, you will only be able to do well, perform efficiently if you are physically fit. So, how do you improve your physical fitness? You must play games, you must exercise, go for a jog, go for a walk, do cycling, any kind of physical activity on a daily basis. Even if you indulge in it only for half an hour, it will improve your physical fitness. Okay, and the last point, whatever you learn during the day, you've got to revise it at night. At night, when? Just before you fall asleep, 15 minutes before you fall asleep at night, you go to sleep, you must revise whatever you learned during the day. Now, there's a reason why I'm recommending this. The reason is, anything that you revise or read 15 minutes before you fall asleep, your body goes to sleep, but your subconscious mind, your brain, remains active. So anything that you put inside your brain just before you fall asleep, for the next 7-8 hours while you are sleeping, the brain will process whatever inputs have gone into it. And when you wake up in the morning, this becomes a permanent part of your memory. Then you will never forget all that. So this exercise also you must try and do every day. Okay, so here I come to the end of what I had to tell you. Now if you have any questions, I'll take them. क्या है अक्षय मीना, language background don't matter in SSB sir, language background don't matter in SSB sir, language background. I have not understood your question. What exactly are you trying to say? I have not understood. Language background, your background does not matter, which background you come from, but as far as the language is concerned, obviously it does matter. You've got to, all the tests are to be conducted in English. In some tests you have to write something, in some tests you are required to speak, and all the speaking and writing is done in English. So language does matter. I don't know what exactly is the context in which you are asking this question, but if this is what you are asking, the answer is yes, it does matter. Okay. My age is 71 kg and my age is 17 years. Is it good? Now this you can check. It's a question related to medical. It is not a question related to SSB. So this you can do your Google search. The Google would tell you, as per your height and your weight, as per your height and your age, what should be your ideal weight. This is a question which a doctor can answer. It is not a question related to SSB. ओके हिंदी में नहीं होता SSB. नो, आई टोल्ड यू कि हिंदी नहीं, अंग्रेजी में ही सारे टेस्ट होंगे. हाउ टू लर्न इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग. Okay, sometime maybe later I'll run a session on communication skills, how one can improve his communication skills. It is very easy. I told you, I've been telling you this thing several times, that it takes only about 3 months time, not more than that. In 3 months time, you can improve your communication skills to an extent where you will be able to, reach a level where you can very comprehensively clear the SSB. Not more than 3 to 4 months. Kya interview? Not hard process. It is interview, and the entire SSB process is very easy, very simple, and it can be cleared very comprehensively if you go prepared. You don't need very elaborate preparation for this. Okay. Sir, I have a doubt. This is a question from Rohit. सर क्या SSB के वैट टेस्ट में ओनली पॉजिटिव सेंटेंसेस ही फ्रेम कर सकते हैं? यस, ऑब्वियसली. इफ यू द वर्ड मे बी नेगेटिव, दैट इज फाइन, it will not make any difference, but the sentences that you frame must indicate something positive, something optimistic and something beneficial. Word negative हो सकता है पर outcome positive होना चाहिए. Okay. Sir, one more thing. Is OIR plays vital role? See, OIR का जो grading है, it determines your IQ level. इसके marks are not included in the overall SSB marks. It is important because if you do not reach a particular IQ level, the psychologist will not clear you. लेकिन इसके मार्क्स SSB के जो ओवरऑल मार्क्स हैं उसमें नहीं इंक्लूड होते, तो टू दैट एक्सटेंट इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट, बट इट्स मार्क्स आर नॉट इंक्लूडेड. रनिंग प्रोसेस फॉर अ गर्ल इन SSB फिजिकल. सी, SSB में कोई फिजिकल नहीं होता. जैसे वो जवानों का होता है वैसा टेस्ट नहीं होता, लेकिन एक टेस्ट होता है GTO का, इंडिविजुअल ऑब्स्टेकल्स, wherein you have to complete 10 obstacles in 3 minutes time. So this time is for boys, for girls the obstacles are the same. The only difference is that instead of 3 minutes you get 4 minutes to do those obstacles. Okay. CDS में कौन सी डिग्री चाहिए? In order to appear for CDS exam, all you need is a graduation degree. CDS जो है बैचलर डिग्री चाहिए होती है. बैचलर डिग्री फॉर, if you are joining a technical stream you need a technical degree. If you are joining OTA or IMA, it can be a bachelor degree from any stream, arts, commerce, science, anything will do.
Rohit is asking what is the difference between interest and hobby?
What is the difference between
interest and hobby?
Interest and hobby. Okay. What is the difference between an interest and hobby? A hobby is something which you physically indulge in your free time for your pleasure and enjoyment. Interest is similar to it but with a difference. What is the difference? You may not physically indulge in it, but you would like to gather information about it. I'll give an example, it will make it crystal clear. 100% this point will get clarified. Let's say my hobby is traveling और रीडिंग और गार्डनिंग, तो फिज़िकली मैं पौधे लगाता हूँ, पेड़ लगाता हूँ, तो गार्डनिंग हो गई, फिज़िकल वो हो गया उसमें इन्वॉल्वमेंट. अब मेरा इंटरेस्ट क्या है? आई एम नॉट अ पॉलिटिशियन, आई एम नॉट अ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट और MLA, और आई एम नॉट एफिलिएटेड टू एनी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, बट इट इज़ आई हैव अ डीप इंटरेस्ट इन नोइंग कि जो नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन होगा कौन सी पार्टी जीतेगी, बीजेपी को कितने वोट मिलेंगे, तो मेरा इन चीज़ों में बहुत इंटरेस्ट है, ऑल्दो आई एम नॉट अ पार्टिसिपेंट इन दैट. In no way am I involved in politics. So this constitutes your interest. So interest, something which you want to know without being part of it or without physically indulging in it. And hobby is something where you physically take part. आपकी हॉबी कॉइन कलेक्शन है, स्टैम्प कलेक्शन है, तो आप स्टैम्प्स जा के कलेक्ट करते हो, राइट. ट्रैवलिंग है तो घर में बैठे तो ट्रैवल नहीं होगा ना, कहीं जाओगे आप, घर से निकलोगे, तो यू आर फिजिकली टेकिंग पार्ट इन इट. सो दिस इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू. और कुछ, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
How can we learn preparatory test? How can we learn preparatory test?
हाउ कैन वी लर्न? देयर इज नथिंग टू लर्न नहीं, इसको अंडरस्टैंड करना है. उसका एक कॉन्सेप्ट है. देयर आर 3 रिक्वायरमेंट्स. कभी अगर इफ आई रन अ PPTT सेशन, आई विल एक्सप्लेन. इट कैन नॉट बी एक्सप्लेन्ड इन 1 सेंटेंस. सी बेसिकली इन PPTT you will be shown an image. On that image you have to write a story. That story must meet 3 requirements. So if those 3 requirements are met in your story, it will be cleared. तो कभी जब PPTT का, क्योंकि इट कैन नॉट बी एक्सप्लेन्ड इन 1 or 2 minutes, इट इज़ अ फुल 2 hour सेशन, इट कैन नॉट बी एक्सप्लेन्ड इन 2 minutes.
Varun Prakash is asking, I don't know exact source where I can prepare for lecture 8.
कहाँ पे है वरुण? क्या वरुण प्रकाश? हाँ, ये आई डोंट नो एग्जैक्ट सोर्स वेयर आई कैन प्रिपेयर फॉर लेक्चर 8. So see, you have to join a coaching institute where they will train you both for the written and the SSB process. Like for example, there's an institute called MKC located in Prayagraj, Allahabad, UP. Right? If you join here, they train you not just for the written exam and not just for the SSB, but they also train you in improving your communication skills. See, you will take effective part in lecture 8 if your communication skills are good. तो ये सब चीज़ें यहाँ पे आपको ट्रेन करते हैं. If you happen to join this academy, you will be trained comprehensively in the entire selection process. Okay. Sir, I belong to a village, to a rural area. How can I elaborate my village? Where do I live? क्या I have not understood your question. आप क्या पूछना चाह रहे हो?
गांव के बारे में
आप पूछ रहे हो कि आप गांव के रहने वाले हो, ठीक है. तो हाउ कैन आई एलैबोरेट माई विलेज, इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? I have not understood. I can answer your question if I have understood it. तो आप गांव के हो वो तो ठीक है, वो तो समझ में आ गया. तो हाउ कैन आई एलैबोरेट माई विलेज, इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? इंटरव्यू इंग्लिश में देना होता है नंद किशोर. यस, इंग्लिश में ही होगा ये. दे विल आस्क क्वेश्चंस इन इंग्लिश एंड यू मस्ट ट्राई एंड आंसर in English. You can use 1 odd word in Hindi, you can even speak 1 odd sentence in Hindi, but by and large you have to speak in English only. रिटर्न के बाद SSB इंटरव्यू कितने टाइम के बाद होता है? टेल मी समथिंग. सुरेंद्र सिंह. ओके, व्हेन यू क्लियर द रिटन एग्जाम, ये किस चीज़ का आप बात कर रहे हो? NDA, CDS, व्हाटएवर, चलो जो भी हो. रिटन एग्ज़ाम का जब रिज़ल्ट आता है उसके आपका जो इफ़ यू आर इन द फर्स्ट बैच टू बी कॉल्ड फॉर एन इंटरव्यू, 2.5-3 महीने का टाइम ज़रूर आपको मिलेगा, probably even more. तो minimum 2.5 to 3 months is the earliest that you may get a call for your SSB, and it could be as much as 4.5-5 months.
For CDS OTA.
हाँ?
He is for CDS OTA.
लिखा नहीं उसने कुछ?
बाद में
लिखा है. हाँ, तो whether it is CDS or OTA or NDA, it is the same. The process is the same. You have to clear the written exam. Once you clear, your SSB interview start after about 2.5 to 3 months. चलो, one last question and then we'll call it off. And we'll take your questions when we run another session some other time.
When I ask what happened in GTO task?
What happens in?
GTO task.
कहाँ पे लिखा है?
Mega teaching classes.
नेहा.
Mega teaching classes.
Mega teaching. What happened in GTO task? Say GTO, the full form of GTO is Group Testing Officer. तो ये नाम ही आपको बताएगा कि आपका परफॉर्मेंस GTO जो है, आपका परफॉर्मेंस ग्रुप में कैसा है, मिल के आप टीम के संग कैसे काम करते हो. तो दिस इज़ व्हाट ही चेक्स, थ्रू हिज इंडोर एंड आउटडोर टेस्ट. बेसिकली ही चेक्स की इंडिविजुअली यू मे बी वेरी गुड, लेकिन टीम में अगर आप नहीं फिट होते, आपका झगड़ा हो रहा है सबसे, आप किसी से आपकी बन नहीं रही, यू कैन नॉट परफॉर्म कलेक्टिवली एज पार्ट ऑफ अ टीम, तो दिस इज़ व्हाट ही चेक्स. This is the GTO's job. Psychologist checks your performance individually. Even the president, through that interview, he'll gauge you individually. But the GTO will gauge your performance as part of a group, as part of a team. So this is what the GTO does. तो चलिए ठीक है, thank you very much.
One question Rohit asked, what is more effective, novel or newspaper reading?
What is more effective, novel or newspaper? Both are effective. I would say both. All the English that I learnt was through novels and through magazines, but that does not mean newspaper will not teach you English. The only difference is newspaper reading is a little difficult. Difficult मतलब boring है, but novel में तो story होती है, मज़ा आता है. कोई मैगज़ीन पढ़ रहे हैं उसमें स्टोरीज़ हैं, तो उस दैट इज़ द ओनली डिफरेंस. एज फार एज द इंग्लिश पार्ट इज़ कंसर्न, वेदर यू रीड द न्यूज़पेपर और द नॉवेल्स, it is the same, the output would be the same. तो चलिए ठीक है, thank you very much, and we'll take more questions some other time, and all the best, and get prepared. It is very easy, both the written and the SSB stage are easy to crack, provided you move in the right direction, provided you have joined the right academy and you get the right guidance, it will become very easy. So thank you very much, and see you some other time. Thank you.